Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second header of Wolfe Power Club from the StocExpo in Rotterdam. We had an incredible time and we're in the 2 weekends between the opening Grand Prix of the season. We've just had Australia, about to have China, and it couldn't have felt more appropriate this week to have the British touring car driver Nicolas Hamilton and to have the Hydrogen Forze racing team on the podcast. We hear the insights of one half of the most successful brothers in motorsport, the Hamilton Racing Brothers. The business world of the energy industry and the motorsport industry has been the yin and yang for time immemorial. The reason for this is that unlike many other things that want motorsport as a platform for their product, obviously the energy that we use in the consumption of motor cars and the old classic race on Sunday, win on Sunday, you sell on Monday has never applied more than to the fuel industry. And part of the reason is great testing ground for both consumer opinion to see what happens when machinery is under the most extreme intensity, and then also to see the popularity and whether you can scale it. A good example of this is we're about to have Nicolas Hamilton, the first ever cerebral palsy driver in British touring cars. He's on and off been in British touring cars since 2015. British touring cars, the highest form of saloon motorsport in the UK, and it has the likes of BMW in there, Toyota, VW, very similar cars that they have on the road, but racing versions of them. And for the last 3 seasons, they've been using hybrid power, almost very similar. It's been encouraged by people to change their motoring behaviour. But this season, they're actually using a liquid drop-in alternative fuel. And we're going to be talking to Nicolas about that because suddenly the weight drop is over 55 kilograms, or the weight of a teenager difference between the vehicles. And obviously in racing terms, that's absolutely massive. We also have an amazing insight into hydrogen fuel cell racing car, which is a combination between the efforts of Hyundai and Delft University's Forze racing team. This is so exciting because not only has it got the next generation working on it and the future students, but it's seeing can hydrogen work in these tremendous conditions. Hyundai got involved in 2021 at a very similar time that I was doing a project with Hyundai in Switzerland looking at hydrogen powered trucks. On the business, the 2 podcasts on StocExpo, we look at how hydrogen has huge opportunity piggybacking off the ammonia industry in the Netherlands, and we talked to Peter Heiss from the Seaports. But what really is fascinating about this episode, we get the insight of Nicolas Hamilton, who on and off has been 10 seasons a British touring car driver. Not only that, he's had to deal with cerebral palsy and get himself up to the physical health, and he's also one half of the most famous brothers in motorsport, with Lewis Hamilton being 7 times world champion. In this opening weekend, Lewis, I think, had a steady debut at Ferrari, but probably didn't get everything he wanted. He ended up 10th, but also you saw in the wet, they almost made a gamble, which meant he was leading the race with about 10 laps to go. And we look at those challenges. But also we ask the question that we all want to know from Nicolas: who would be the quicker family, the Hamiltons or the Verstappens? Enjoy our interview with Nicolas Hamilton, then enjoy our insights into a hydrogen fuel cell racing car, and then please comment below if you want to see more motorsport related business stuff, because certainly we've always seen motorsport as a platform of testing the fuels that we'll be using tomorrow. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. Nicolas, welcome to the Wolfe Power Club podcast. We're at StocExpo, the heart of the storage terminal industry with the fuel industry.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get straight into fuel questions because you are a British touring car racing driver, and they have had 3 years of hybrid and they're just switching now to renewable fuels. How do you feel about that and the 55 kilograms less of weight potentially in the cars?
Yeah, I think it was great. Obviously, British touring cars are trying to make the championship more sustainable at the end of the day, which is a huge benefit, and I think it's really powerful that we've got people that wanting to do that. Hybrid, I guess, didn't really have the impact that we would wanted it to have had. It was actually quite expensive for the teams to run, and the weight was crazy. It was actually 75 kilos, which was a lot to carry in the car, and it was just having a lot of negative effect on the car itself. But I think the changes of sustainable fuels is really important. At the end of the day, we want to make our sport as sustainable as possible. I don't really want to go electric, and I want to keep the engine. So anything that we can do to make the engine, better for the planet, more sustainable, I think is powerful. And I think we're on our way to do that.
Now, most of our listeners and watchers will have never driven a British touring car, race car, but probably like myself, they got the dad's car, the Volvo Estate. They take their kids in, and then I've got something more fun for the weekends. And there's a big weight difference. Can you describe to our listeners with that 75 kilos? And I guess I'm thinking about the most high-speed moment to low speed when you're braking in British touring car and you're all resting face. What does the weight do for you as a driver? So with the hybrid?
Yeah, so I mean, you wouldn't notice it in terms of top speed. You get there eventually. The car just feels a lot more sluggish for us. It's like having a passenger in the passenger seat, and braking. Your braking distance are a little bit longer, so you have to brake a little bit earlier. And obviously, just the car generally is it can be quite like lazy and quite difficult to drive in terms of balance. But the cars are amazing, and it is basically a glorified, road car just with, 400 brake horsepower and a roll cage. And that's why the championship is so relatable and family orientated, because really, you can have a Passat that you could drive, but actually you just see, a touring car Passat drive past you as well. So, it's a very relatable championship, a really powerful one, and I think the less weight, the better. But also we've got to keep in mind the sustainability side.
Fantastic. I think going on to sustainability side, I guess this industry is very excited because going to renewable drop-in liquid fuel means that we need storage tanks all over the world in Europe, which we do. Do you see the benefit for, because I quite often feel with motor racing to the commercial sector, that old adage, you win on Sunday, you sell on Monday. Do you think that fuels that suddenly could be at your forecourt and distributed by the storage terminal sector almost have more resonance with people because you don't have to change the technology? You're purely looking for a cleaner thing to put in the car. So what you're racing with on Sunday, there is an opportunity in the future of it to be a Monday vehicle.
Yeah, especially if you're an avid fan of motorsport and you know the ins and outs of motorsport as well. Especially if you go to a racetrack and see a car win or whatever. It's having that connection with a driver or with a team or with a car or with a championship and being able to actually use that fuel that you feel could be cleaner for your car, especially boy racers. They want to have good fuel and look after their cars. Especially for me in the car. I have a Mercedes A35, and when I put fuel in it, I want to make sure I look after it and I make sure it's got the right fuel, clean fuel. And if I was able to put racing fuel in it that I knew was good, I would 100% do that. It doesn't matter about the price, to be honest. I would do it. So I think that would be a great touch to be able to have that available in the forecourts. Because it's about connecting with the consumer, with the customer generally, and I think doing that through motorsport, I think, is a good sign.
Yeah, I agree. And trying to connect with our listener a bit now. Have you got like a favourite race? Because you've been in and out of British touring cars for the sort of best part of a decade now.
Yeah.
What is like the race that you to say, that's the one I'd like to rewatch again, and it was really like my favourite moment. I just felt at one with the car, and the result was what I wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, in and out of motorsport for a decade, and really it's just because it's so inaccessible. It's so hard to continuously raise the funds, to race in British touring cars like £500,000, and it's not an easy. It's not an easy amount of money to raise, so I've been up and down. But in terms of result, it's got to be Donington Park in 2023. I got a top 6 result there. It was in the wet. I came from 21st to P6 at the end of the race, and it was probably the best drive I've ever done. And Lewis was there, my whole family were there. it was such a changeable in terms of conditions, such a changeable race, and yeah, one that I definitely carry to the grave with me, one that I'm super proud about, and hopefully this year have more opportunities to even better that result. So yeah, we'll wait and see.
Well, in the Wolfe Power Club, we are rooting for the Hamilton podium. We would love to see that. The other thing I'm fascinated by is personalities. I feel that touring cars almost has always had big names, big relationships with TV. I mean, obviously, you get a huge amount of coverage outside the sport, doing industry events like this. But I see that Flash Gordon, aka Gordon Shredden, has signed back up. What's it like driving against a multiple champion like Flash Gordon?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, look, it's a real powerful thing for me, because I was just a kid in a wheelchair being bullied at school and told I wouldn't do anything physically, told I wouldn't get to anything or mount to anything, and here I am, racing against able-bodied racing drivers, but also very good ones, that they're at the top of their game, people that I grew up watching, the likes of Jason Plato, the likes of Gordon Shedden, the likes of Colin Turkington. I remember being in my wheelchair, watching Colin drive past me when I was in my wheelchair in the year 2002, and then last 2023 I was racing alongside him. So it's definitely a pinch me moment, but also you can learn a lot from these drivers. And I've done a couple of track walks with Gordon, and the way he thinks, the thought processes that he has, is so great to learn from him, and it's good to see him back on the grid. And I think it's important for the championship as well to have personality, to have people that can bring some proper clout to the championship as well. And obviously I think having me back on the grid as well, I think is powerful for the championship. And at the end of the day, it's about having good people that show personality, and I think that's what we've got.
And what car and what team are you in, for our listeners that aren't avid British touring car
I
fans?
can't tell you yet. I announce in 2 weeks, so you'll see.
We will, guys. We'll put it in the show notes and we'll publish it. And now, obviously, we're in the Netherlands today. Your family and the Verstappens are very close.
Yes.
What do you have for our Dutch fans for the coming F1 season? Is it going to be glory for the Hamilton family, or will the other family of the Verstappens be celebrating this year?
Well, obviously, at the end of the day, I want the best for Lewis. Just because obviously he's my older brother. But at the end of the day, I think McLaren are looking really strong. Red Bull and Ferrari aren't looking the strongest. I think McLaren have the strongest car at the moment. But you never really know until the lights go out at race 1 in Australia, which is obviously this weekend. So obviously, I want Lewis to have an amazing time at Ferrari, a memorable time at Ferrari. I'm going to be watching very keenly, like a lot of people will be. But at the end of the day, we've been doing this long enough now where I just want everyone to be safe. I want Lewis to be safe. Motorsport can be a very safe sport, but also super dangerous at the same time. You've got to make sure that, especially when you have a sibling, doing 200 mile an hour, you want to make sure he's safe. So I think we all want a safe race. We all want a safe championship and a safe season. And, whoever comes out on top is going to surely deserve it. So.
Brilliant. Well, can I just say, Nicolas, we ask now 3 questions to all of our guests. Quick fire, don't need to be long. And it's about the energy industry. So with the energy industry, and I appreciate you're a racing driver rather than a sort of geek like me that loves the chemicals and so on. What would you like the government to do to support the energy industry or motor industry in the next 12 months, the British government?
I think try and make sure that all of the energy that we get is used correctly. I don't want any energy to be misused. There's a lot of people going into helping energy being more sustainable, but I think a lot of it is getting wasted at some stages. So I would say that. What's your next? The
next quickfire question is, what would you like consumers to do? Maybe thinking about the car market, and I guess it's maybe is there something you'd like them to do in the next 12 months?
I think be open to change. A lot of consumers and customers I feel like are stuck in their own ways of maybe just staying with the same car that they have, or not wanting to work on trying to help make the industry more sustainable. So I think more open-mindedness. I think it just helps everyone in general. It helps businesses in general. As long as the consumer can be around in terms of their own thought processes, then I think that would help everyone.
And then the final question, this is a good plug for yourself here, because lots of directors of the energy business world listen to CEOs and so on. Why should an energy director sponsor Nicolas Hamilton to go faster in future seasons?
I would say because I'm a great dude, and also I'm super different to a lot of people. For me, it's about being different, bringing something different to the table, especially someone with a disability. You don't usually see disabled racing drivers and athletes in the pinnacle of British motorsport, and that's where I am. But also do a lot of work outside of racing, which is really important. At the end of the day, it's about trying to inspire as many people as you can. So I want to try and inspire business and people to be better versions of themselves. I'm just the full package. I'm joking.
Nicolas, thank you for your time today. It's great to see you in Rotterdam.
Thank you.
And again, I say to that podium this season, buddy. Cheers, man.
Take care.
Guys, we are at StocExpo. It's the 20-year celebration. But as you guys know, I'm addicted to motorsport. And today we've come across Forze Hydrogen Racing, a leading hydrogen racing team that started its roots in university but is now producing this car but has got a successor coming. Can we please welcome Lucas, the operations manager? Tell us a bit about Forze Hydrogen Racing.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Lucas, I'm the operations manager of this year. And we are, Forze is a student team that exists of 50 students, and the group changes every year. So you do this project just for 1 year, and then you give it to the next your next group. And we design, build and race hydrogen race cars. And we believe that hydrogen is really a sustainable future. Because hydrogen is an energy carrier, so we generate electricity by the hydrogen, and that's the way we power our car. Currently, you see our Forze 8 over here. We are currently working on our Forze 9 and our newest car, and we hope to race that one in upcoming April.
And Lucas, could you just tell us what is going on here? Because obviously it looks very different to a standard race car.
Yeah, so we have a fuel cell to generate electricity, so it's no combustion engine. And we have a high pressure side of the car and an oxygen side of the car. And when the oxygen and hydrogen meet under the right conditions in the fuel cell, it produces electricity and water vapor. And the water vapor comes out here at the side as the exhaust gases. And the electricity is stored in a battery which powers the electrical engines in the back.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. So do you see the career Forze Hydrogen Racing about, say, winning race series, or is it more about getting the world onto hydrogen power? And we've heard this morning from various ports across the Netherlands, big investment is going into hydrogen. Where do you see the balance? Is it success on the track, or is it success in energy transition?
As a team, we believe that hydrogen is really a fuel for the future. So it's really about all promoting hydrogen and show what we already can do with hydrogen. And we love to show the world that by racing. And I think it's also a really cool application to show what hydrogen can already do. So we also compete against petrol-driven cars. And this car, which is right here, became second against petrol-driven cars. So it's really something to show what we already can do with hydrogen and to promote hydrogen by showcasing it in an LMP3 car.
Lucas, thank you for your time. I really hope to see the car at Spa, Zandvoort, or even Silverstone. Come to Britain.
We hope as well. Thank you for your time.
Wow, what brilliant insights there from both Nicolas and Forze Motorsport. As I say, after this podcast comes out, Nicolas is going to be revealing in the next few weeks which team he's going to be with in British Touring Car this season. It was top secret, so at the time he couldn't tell me. There was just a few raised eyebrows and smiles when I was trying to get it out of him. And we're also hoping that the hydrogen cell racing car from the Forza team, not only giving great experience to students, but will really have breakthroughs and compete at the highest level of racing championships across Europe to see what it will do. It's not the first time we've seen a hydrogen racing car. Famously, Ulrich Bess with Aston Martin had the Rapide S do the Nürburgring 24 hours on hydrogen. So it has come and gone. I'm still a believer that hydrogen won't really be used for road fuels, but you never know. You got to watch this space. I hope you've enjoyed this week's double header, and if you haven't heard it yet, listen to the Business Expo of the various M&As happening in the terminal sector, and also how hydrogen can piggyback off the Dutch system. Thank you very much for your indulgence. Tune in next week where we'll be talking about sustainable aviation.